I'm
Hello,
dead.
everybody. I got you. I hear you good. Well, once again, let's pull John off here. We are
Another screw up. Let's go. Monday morning,
back
Longshore
again
McKnight,
live.
presented by Bud Light. I'm
Yep.
already pissed because I had a tough.
Well, we're going to work on that just a little bit. I'm Barry McKnight. I am in a hotel room in San Marcos, Texas today. I am on the road all week this week. John is in the home studio. We'll get him on in just a moment. This is another edition of Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light in association with Yellowhammer News. Great to have everybody in here with us. Loads of basketball to talk about over the weekend. Busy weekend with college baseball and travel. Had to go out of the Atlanta airport, which is never smooth, it feels like. Auburn stays on top in the Southeastern Conference with two big wins over the last week. They beat Georgia on Saturday at Neville Arena, 82-70. Auburn right now is 2 games up in the SEC race with 4 to go. All 4 games are against AP top 25 teams, so it ain't easy. It was, first of all, Janai Broome was transcendent in the win. 31 points against Georgia, 14 rebounds, I think. He is getting closer to National Player of the Year awards. But it was kind of a for the Neville Arena crowd, they were kind of sleepwalking through the first half or so. There wasn't a whole lot of energy. And then, John, they had a little tiny dust up, 4 technical fouls, and that got the crowd going again. That got them moving, which is
Maybe
really good.
the Auburn crowd has gotten fat and happy. I've heard that about another fan base, but maybe Auburn's fan base is fat and happy now.
They've got all this winning going on. The expectations are, we need to win by double digits. There's a little pressure on all that. There are fan bases like that. I don't know that Auburn's there yet, but they weren't able to pull away from Georgia. They weren't winning by 20 or anything. And then Auburn hit a 3. I think it was Chad Baker and Mazzara, who's kind of in the middle of a lot of that stuff all the time. I thought that woman in the Alabama game was gonna take a swing at him, but there was a little something with Georgia's Silas Damari Jr. Denver Jones was the first one who kind of got involved in it, and then here comes Chad Baker, Mazzara, then Samonto Cyril for Georgia. Bruce Pearl said he thought it was a whole crock of nothing. But at the end of it, 4 technical fouls didn't really mean anything except Denver Jones picked up his 4th foul. But John, that got the crowd lit up. That sure did, and they were energized the rest of the way.
Well, I don't know.
When Auburn plays Alabama in women's basketball over the weekend, and the only thing resembling a fight is in the Auburn men's game, John thinks that's an opportunity. That would have put that game in John's memory in perpetuity, like that Auburn women's basketball game against Alabama at Foster Auditorium did years ago, which serves as John's only reference point to Auburn and Alabama women's basketball. They once got in a fight 10 years ago.
Well, unfortunately, there was not a fight in the Lady Tide versus Lady Aub game yesterday. Looks like Auburn lost their fight in the second half of that game after establishing a big lead against the Tide. But, I don't know. I hope Auburn's not getting a little fat and happy and too big for themselves and getting sloppy and technical fouls. I mean, want to get it out of your system now before you head to postseason. You don't want to be, a lot of extracurricular activity can come back to bite you.
Yeah. Well, they had some extracurricular activity on a flight early in the season, and it didn't seem to bother them then. A little suspension here and there. But big win for Auburn in that, they were favored to win over Georgia. They have a 3-game homestand that they really need to win all 3. That was the second. They have Ole Miss coming in on Wednesday. But, Jedi Broom, he took care of business, 31 points, 14 rebounds, and Auburn wins it. Again, 2 games ahead of the field with 4 games to go. But those 4 games are all against top 25 teams. Alabama, you had Reese Davis there. You had Dickie Vitale there.
Dickie
you had
V,
the Big Blue Nation there. And Alabama, who looked fairly not good last week, gets a big win over Kentucky, 96-83. And, just when you think, boy, they have hit the wall, they'll give you something. It's happened 2 or 3 times this year where they've looked fairly bad in one game, like the Ole Miss game, and then they'll come back and they'll look like $1 million in another. So, Alabama gets a win by double figures. Home against
I was in
Mississippi
Tuscaloosa
State
over
tomorrow.
the weekend.
Wow.
It was a pretty large crowd. It looked to be sold out. Maybe a few scattered empty seats here and there. I don't know. But it certainly, from my vantage point, looked like there were a lot of people inside Coleman Coliseum. A lot of activity around campus over the weekend. I don't know. They surprised me. I thought there would be a little drop off, a little lull after the 2 losses, but the fan base showed up and supported the Tide to a victory against the mighty Big Blue Nation. So, they kind of surprised me, kind of showed up on Saturday, played well. I'll give them that. Grant Nelson
now they
spent
got
a
to
little
do it
time
again.
on the bench. Didn't really, follow the I don't want to say the rule book. Yeah, I guess it is the rule book, but the game plan didn't follow it to a T. So spent a little time on the bench in the first half, but came back and played well. And Nate Oates has been known to do that. If you're not going to play defense, if you're not going to follow the game plan, if you're going to turn the ball over, you're going to be sitting over here next to me.
Well, that's what one of the chatters said last week, and I thought it was a little harsh. The chatter was asking on our River Region chat line, what is Grant Nelson doing well? And, he does a lot of everything well. He shoots the 3 well, or he can. He doesn't. He's kind of streaky. Provides some length, a little length defensively down low, passes the ball okay. But he needs to step up. Sears is who he is. Sears is going to play how Sears is going to play. I think Grant Nelson is really kind of the X factor. If he elevates his game, they're going to win. If he doesn't, they struggle with that. So they've got Mississippi State at home tomorrow night, John, 8 o'clock at night on ESPN2. Needs to be another big crowd. Keep them coming, Bama fans. I don't want to hear this.
Way.
Well, no. I live in Cottondale and I got a job and I'm not going to go over. You expect me to drive all the way over from Hoover to go watch them play? It's a Tuesday night game, 8 o'clock. Hey, these are the good days. These are the ones that you need to relish if you're a Bama fan, because things are going well, and they certainly deserve your support. Alabama plays on Tuesday. Auburn plays on Wednesday. Both of them are on ESPN2. Both of them are at home. Alabama, Ole Miss tomorrow night. Alabama, Mississippi State tomorrow night. Ole Miss and Auburn on Wednesday. That's at 6 o'clock. And then over the weekend, John, they both go on the road. Alabama at Tennessee, one that you and I kind of been circling a little bit. And Auburn is at Kentucky on Saturday night, which may be, along with the Alabama game at the end of the year, the biggest test they've got left. And they've got a lot of tests left.
Well, I can go ahead and say with confidence that tomorrow night's 8 o'clock tip-off will not be. There again, I could be wrong. I'm right until someone proves me wrong. But
like the
the
Vans.
8 o'clock Tuesday tip is not going to bring them out in mass. Little inconvenient. Tuesday night's a little tough. Still getting over the weekend, looking ahead to the next weekend. I know it's a close rivalry in terms of distance between the two campuses. State's pretty good. Certainly can beat Alabama, no doubt. But no, not gonna happen. Not gonna see that tomorrow night. But there again, one of these games that could trip Alabama up if they're not careful, they're not paying attention.
Oh yeah, and we've seen that. We have seen that a couple of times, no question. Troy was a winner on Saturday by 17 at home against Coastal Carolina. Final regular season home game tomorrow night at 7 o'clock against Texas State. And then the regular season ends on Friday at Southern Miss. And then Troy goes to the tournament. The SEC tournament begins in a couple of weeks. And then we get into basketball postseason, one of John's favorite times of the year. What?
Yeah.
Coppin
really
State.
like
Golly, what do I know? I got to pick them. The bracket pools and all of that, man. I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
Yep, I am too. We will definitely, of course, have our bracket challenge as we have done for so many years, and similar to what we did with our football bowl prediction contest. Our NCAA men's tournament challenge will be coming up shortly, as well as Barry kind of touched on there. So get ready for that. And yeah, if there's a Coppin State out there, some of these other teams you've never heard about that could make the tournament, you got to do a little homework on them to make sure they don't trip you up in your bracket. Might need to start doing that just so you know who some of these schools are. I know we're talking a lot of SEC and how many are going to make the tournament, but there's some others out there that could really make a little run, and you better be on top of it for the basketball challenge, which is fast approaching.
Now we get this from Bama Greg. He says, Bama baseball down 10-0 to Ohio State, and Bama storms back to win 12-10. That was at this invitational tournament they're having down in Jacksonville. Bama was down 10-0 to the Buckeyes, and they end up coming back and winning it. And they're 8-0 right now. Little story in AL.com. One of Alabama's players went to social media and had to apologize later on for an inappropriate photo. In response, he's an Alabama pitcher named Riley Quick. And in the picture, a number of Alabama players are flipping off the camera, the big middle finger with the caption, bleep the O. It's the F dash word. Bleep the O with middle fingers extended. They had to come back. Riley Quick says had to make an announcement. He said, I am reaching out to Ohio State to personally apologize for representing the University of Alabama in a negative way. I still have always respected Dennis Franchione for one thing, and that was his KAWC mantra, John, from years ago that people need to remember.
I remember that. Yeah.
KAWC, that means, and I'm paraphrasing, kick derriere with class. So, yeah,
I always thought it was a little
win.
cheesy. I thought that was a little saying from Franchione was a little cheesy, kind of like his website and Kim's Corner, his wife's little contribution to his website. A little cheesy. But, you don't need to be doing that type of stuff. That is not very classy. I don't know if the head coach saw that and quickly made them remove it. But, 8-0 on the year, that's a lot. It's a big deal. I mean, they got to play a lot of baseball games. I mean, they'll probably end up playing 100. I know they're 8-0, so it's better than chopped liver. But down 10 runs and you come back to win. I mean, Ohio State's got to be getting on the bus going, wait a minute, what happened here? Are they blaming it on one guy? Did the shortstop let a lot of balls get between his legs? Or
no, I mean on the bus, are they looking at all those relief pitchers and going, you so-and-so? You're leaving my 10, boys. Come on.
Is there not a 10-run rule in baseball?
Yeah, but you have to get to the fifth inning, in order for it to
I mean, I'm
you
seeing
can't
that
score
story
10 runs in the first
going,
and everybody go home.
10-0. I mean, in the game over. That's what I used to love about youth baseball. Whoa, this was going to be over fast. Let's go.
Yeah.
Good deal. I'm in.
John's texting the wife saying, "Hey, we're leaving early. You want anything from Panera? I'm headed home." Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, we're getting smothered, and I'm putting all the dorky players in just to make sure we don't get this thing less than 10. Yeah, well, if they can score a couple of more, I'm happy with that too. Let's go. So
I mean, I'll look dissatisfied and everything, but hey, I'm heading to the house real soon.
Down 10, come back and win 12-10, and then flip Ohio State the middle finger. Barry, that was probably we're number one. I'm not sure that was really clarified as well as it should be, because we've had people do that to us driving by on live remotes. So going, hey, thanks, buddy, appreciate that.
Well, you mentioned
I look at it that way.
You mentioned the coach may have gotten a hold of it. It may have been some of their NIL partners that got there and said, "Hey, man, we got you representing our pastry shop or something like that. We don't need you on social media using the F word and putting your middle finger up there. That'll cost you some NIL money." That will get their attention maybe just as much or a little more than the coach as well. You don't want to do that. I remember somebody flipped off double birds crossing the graduation stage at Beard Eves Coliseum in Auburn one time, and she will have that attached to her name for the rest of her life. Kind of tragic.
I know the guy that took that picture. He could have probably sold those things in Tuscaloosa for $25 a picture. He missed out.
Oh, Daniel,
those would have been hot sellers.
A whole stuff. Yeah, no doubt about it.
No, those would have been.
Well,
hot
we are
sellers.
underway. John is at his main studio. I am in a hotel room again. I'll be in a hotel room all week. I'm in San Marcos, Texas right now. Later on in the week, I'll be in Hattiesburg, Mississippi with Troy basketball. Final week of the regular year for Sun Belt play, and we're getting to that point in college basketball as well. Lots to talk about on the show today, and we're glad you're involved with us. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Okay, joining us now, Brian Reynolds. He is the director of golf at Cambrian Ridge in Greenville on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. And, hey, Brian, I know we've had a lot of rain. Weather hadn't been very cooperative, but that still doesn't mean that our listeners and our viewers can come see you to pick up those trail cards and also all of the new merchandise and equipment that's arriving in your pro shop.
That's right, guys. We've got the new TaylorMade Q35. We've got the new TaylorMade Elite, named after the old founder of Callaway, Ely Callaway. We got the TaylorMade. We got the Ping. The apparel's rolling in left and right, whether it's Peter Millar, Vineyard Vines, Straight Down, Southern Tide. We've got it all coming in right now. Puma. Shop's getting full, running out of room, so we need folks to come buy some stuff. It's getting thick in there.
I love it, Brian. Man, you are just packed in with new merchandise and apparel for the upcoming golf season. And speaking of that upcoming golf season, that trail card will pay for itself in no time. Folks need to go ahead and get that 2025 trail card.
That's right. It pays for itself the first time you use it. It takes your golf, whether you're playing, in Greenville or at Prattville, somewhere around the $46 to $56 price range. If you walk in here without one in our prime season in the spring, we're going to hit you for $125. So, you buy the $50 trail card, pay your $56 for golf. It's still cheaper than walking the door and not having one. So if you're an Alabama resident or live within 2 hours of any trail facility, make sure you get that card, stash it away in your wallet, take a picture of it on your phone so we can give you that discount. And hey, the caveat on top of it is you gain points every time you spend $1 with that trail card, whether it's food and beverage, golf, merchandise. You gain points, and for every 500 points, you get a free round of golf. So, if you're looking to buy a driver, irons, rangefinder, shoes, buy it with us. You get points, and you're going to get a free round of golf. If you buy a driver, you get a free round of golf right then, $500.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. That is fantastic. So, for more information, go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge. Or better yet, just go by and see them there in Greenville. What's your phone number for more information and to book that tee time when this weather gets a little better?
Just give us a call at 382-9787. I'm sorry, 382-9787, and we'll get you taken care of.
Awesome. Brian, thank you so much, my friend. A lot of exciting things going on down there at Cameron Ridge. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, back at it here on a Monday, 20 minutes past the top of the hour here with Longshore and McKnight. A lot coming in on our River Region Straw text hotline. The talk about women's sports has gotten a little buzz this morning. Somebody texted me and said, man, I love it when you refer to them as the Lady Alls. Is this a new viewer? I mean, Lady Tide, Lady Albs. I've been doing that since the beginning of time.
Well, they used to be called the Lady Tide 20 years ago, 18 years ago. They have never been the Lady Albs. But they, they're the Crimson Tide and they're the Tigers, just like everybody else. He doesn't John's not up with the times or anything.
Nah. Once I get stuck on something, it's hard for me to move on to the new part. Mile High Stadium, Candlestick Park.
Yeah.
I mean, they change the names of these places so often. I just go back to its original name. Something that was not original yesterday, but I thought it was a good look. Did you happen to see the pink uniforms that the Lady Tide was wearing for Breast Cancer Awareness Month? I know all weekend that was kind of the theme.
Right. Yeah, that was the weekend for it.
Sports. But I don't think, when I saw it, I kind of went, whoa, did the uniforms fade? What happened here? Somebody put some bleach in there with them or something? But the more I looked at it, I thought, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Because there was even the basketball game, the gymnastics on Friday, which I understand Auburn won in Tuscaloosa for the first time ever.
Look at you.
Did they roll Toomer's Corner?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't even know that they – and I used to be heavily involved in gymnastics, both at Auburn and Alabama, heavily involved. I don't even realize that they competed. And I sure as heck don't know whether they rolled Toomer's Corner. If I'm getting a judge's ruling on it, I say go ahead. I mean, not a ton, couple of squares here and there, just something, maybe when the Auburn gymnastics team rolled back into Auburn, maybe they went out and rolled it a little bit, took some pictures and all that kind of stuff. But it needs to be with a big competitive win. It doesn't have to be just football, but it needs to be football more than anything else.
Barry, does it lose some of its luster? If you do it so often, does it just become second nature and it's not that big of a deal anymore?
That's exactly right. That's exactly what it is. And I've seen it happen before. I've seen it where I think Auburn High School won a golf championship. And I love Auburn High, but they rolled Toomer's Corner. I've seen it before where I don't know, somebody, some salesman in Auburn makes a big sale. He got an order for 8,000 widgets, and he'll go roll Toomer's Corner for himself, which is not good. Early on here, Robbie from Greenville is up early this morning.
Whoa, Robbie!
John,
what's
up? He wants to talk women's basketball. He says tremendous women's basketball game between number 1 Notre Dame and number 13, NC State. NC State won 104-95 in 2 overtimes. Alabama has a chance to host the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. This is the Lady Tide if they finish in the top 16. How about Robbie? Kirk says we need to talk more women's sports. Believe me, I do honestly believe that we probably talk more women's sports than virtually anybody else. But
wait a minute. So Robbie's hitting me with Notre Dame women's basketball today?
Notre Dame, yeah. Well, Notre is only for football, evidently. That's
Robbie, I got to give you credit, buddy. I did not. I will say this. I was in having lunch yesterday, and I believe did Notre Dame play NC State yesterday?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did. That game was on. I actually did catch a little bit of that. Didn't pay a lot of attention to it, but it was on, and I watched a little bit of it. So Do I get credit for saying at least I saw the game? A little
You
credit,
at least
maybe?
you knew. It's like gymnastics. You definitely get credit for knowing that there was a gymnastics meet yesterday. Alabama women's basketball 22-6 right now. They are 9-5 in the SEC. And I'm going to say this, and I don't want to be critical. I'm just reporting the facts. Auburn women's basketball, which, when I was over there broadcasting, they were playing in NCAA championship games under Jumpin' Joe. Auburn women's basketball is 12-15 overall. They are 3-11 in the SEC. Auburn swimming and diving. Auburn men's swimming and diving. They had the swimming and diving championships over the weekend.
Did they really?
The men finished 8th, and the Auburn women finished 9th. John, do you remember the days when Auburn swimming and diving was at the top of the podium at the NCAAs every year under David Marsh? 8th and 9th in the league?
Somebody needs to write a book. We need to have a little investigative report. Why did Auburn run the swimming and diving coach? Because since they ran him off, nothing. I mean, that program is completely, the bottom is falling out. The water's drained out of the pool. I mean, I don't know what happened there and who got crossways. But this guy, I mean, he had a number one team year in and year out, and they just kind of went, we don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to dig deep into that.
That was a Jay Jacobs thing. And, I was really good friends with David Marsh. He went to church with me and, used to visit at lunch every once in a while. And he never would say, I don't know that his contract allowed him to say, but he never would say that. Really, really easy questions. I want you to.
It's kind of like Auburn letting Harvey Glantz go. I mean, how do you do that?
To Alabama. He's an Auburn icon. It's like Charles Barkley leaving to become the basketball coach at Alabama. But a couple of really, really easy questions on the River Region Straw chat line. We love the easy ones that you don't even have to look up. I'll let John crack at this one. Dennis Mitchell, first of all, he says John and Barry, Nate Oates will be staying in Alabama, which is good.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. Appreciate that. Good to know that.
He says this one to Barry, but I'll let John take a crack at it. Barry, please tell me, about when will the Sun Belt basketball tournament be coming to Garrett Coliseum? Jason Jones says, Dennis, that's an easy answer. Never.
Never.
Yes.
Dennis, are you kidding me? No. Coming out there. No way. No way does the SEC. What tournament is out there? Did they? I'm trying to think what did they have maybe a high school tournament maybe or something? No, Dennis, not coming.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here's
the other one. And this is from our buddy JJ. He said, I heard Michigan is beating everyone for 5-star Ty Haywood and others. Is college football national championships coming down to who got the most money?
Yeah.
Again, very easy question to answer, JJ. Of course it is. He says at least MLB and the NFL has got salary caps. JJ, you're right. You're right. College football, Ohio State. If Ohio State didn't have all of that NIL money, then do you think they'd won the national championship this year with Will Howard and Quinshon Judkins and a couple of those linebackers and stuff? No. That is the way, that is the world we live in, I promise you.
Yeah. Yeah. Quickly back to
yes.
Who asked that? Was it Dennis or Robbie about
Dennis Early? Dennis Early wanted us to know that Nate Oates will be staying in Alabama. Breaking news. And please tell me, about when will the Sun Belt basketball tournament be coming to Garrett Coliseum? They have a long agreement, a long contract currently with the Base Center in Pensacola, which is perfect, I think, for that.
Yeah, I think it's a great location as well. Yeah. I said it years ago. It ruffled some feathers, Dennis. But to me, the next call the Garrett Coliseum needs to make is to a demolition company. Someone that's got a lot of dynamite. Just need to go ahead and get rid of it. What you doing? It holds the rodeo and the fair. That's about it.
Is it air conditioned yet, John? Have they? They?
You know, they put a couple of Band-Aids here and there, and they've done this and they've done that, but it needs major overhauling. I mean, that facility was built back in the 60s. I haven't been to Garrett Coliseum in a long time, but the last time I went several years ago, still had those wooden chair back seats that were there since the 60s. The bathrooms look terrible. The concessions are terrible. I mean, it's just old, antiquated, and out of date. And in this era where stadiums and arenas, coliseums have all the amenities and all the things that the fans like, Garrett Coliseum has zero of that. So, no, Montgomery's going to get lapped and left behind because they don't have anything able to accommodate. I know there's been some talk about some type of venue downtown, which would be great, right. But I don't see any backhoes down there. I don't see any steel and concrete going up. So that's not going to happen. I mean, the location of Garrett Coliseum is not good. You've got to have your venues where all the hotels and the restaurants and the entertainment districts are and all that type stuff for your fan base to have something to do. You think the Sun Belt's coming to Montgomery and going out there? I mean, Riverwalk Stadium's perfect for the Sun Belt baseball tournament. Garrett Coliseum's great for the rodeo and the fair. That's about
it. Do they have anything else besides the rodeo and the fair?
Trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe monster trucks come to the Coliseum. They might have some wrestling, maybe. I know the city and the state have gone back and forth on this. I don't know why they just don't say, you know what? I think at the end of the day, this just isn't going to work.
Well, we are underway. The Chris the Bammer is checking in. Thumbs up, everybody. Hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. And Chris, this is going to be a good day for you because I'm feeling a lot of the Victoryland 777 topic wheel today. We've got a lot to address.
We got a lot to address. And anybody out there, any of you smart Alex out there that want to jump on the Phantom's Daily Dog, remember Friday?
We do.
Okay. We'll get to that later as well.
Not much later. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Well, the Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers are really hot in college basketball, and so are the deals at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram truck dealer is Stivers in Prattville. And at Stivers, they have the largest selection of Ram trucks priced at thousands less than other dealers. How about a 2025 Ram Bighorn 4x4 crew cab with savings of up to $15,000 off sticker price? Also at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, they have fantastic savings on the entire Jeep lineup, like the Wranglers and Jeep Grand Cherokees. Head over to Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville, where Price sells cars and trucks.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Okay, back at it here, about 26 minutes to the top of the hour. Longshore and McKnight. It's about Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Now, of course, Auburn and Alabama are the big topics of conversation with wins on Saturday, but there were other games in and around the SEC that I think were of importance, as well as a couple of teams are still scratching and clawing to try to win the regular season. Not sure it's going to be done, but a lot of people think the Florida Gators are in the best position to possibly give Auburn a run for their money.
Well, you look at the standings right now. Let me get them off the women's basketball standings for just a moment. Yeah, and Auburn is 2 games up, which is a great position to be in with 4 to go. But right behind them, Alabama and Florida, 2 games back at 11-3. Florida, slightly better overall record than Alabama. They're just a game behind Auburn in terms of overall record. Auburn is 25-2, and Florida is 24-3. Alabama is tied with them for second. There are 3 teams tied for third, 2 games back of the Tide and the Gators. Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Missouri. Watch out for Missouri. They are 20-7. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 20-win teams already in the SEC, and 2 more with 19 wins. Now, for Auburn, down the stretch, well, let's look at Florida since you brought them up. Florida, down the stretch, I feel like Ralph Michaels here pulling stuff up. Florida, down the stretch, 2 games back. Georgia on the road. Georgia's average. Texas A&M, who's pretty decent, they're at home. Then Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and then Ole Miss at home. That's not bad. That could be worse for sure. But then you look at Auburn down the stretch. 2 games up on everybody, 4 games to go. Auburn, again, they've got Ole Miss coming in Wednesday. Alabama plays tomorrow. Auburn plays Wednesday. Then they're at Kentucky, at Texas A&M, and then at home against Alabama. If Alabama wins out up until, the final game, and Auburn loses once, say loses at Kentucky or loses at Texas A&M, which could happen, that game at Neville Arena on March the 8th could end up being for Alabama to pull into a first-place tie with Auburn at the end of the regular year.
I don't know if you should get us ahead of ourselves just yet. I don't.
Oh, that's our job.
Happening, but maybe that happens. Maybe, who knows? But to me, Barry, Florida's the team. Bama's got to play Florida here pretty soon. Florida's playing. Auburn's playing the best. Yes. Florida's a team you better be careful about.
Yeah. Florida's getting better. They got a big 7-1 center who broke his leg last year. I want to say it was against Alabama. Just now getting back, Micah Hanlogden, he can be a difference maker as well. So, yeah. If I'm Auburn fan, I wouldn't be, sitting on my hands in the first half of the Georgia game at Neville Arena on Saturday. I would definitely make sure
that's the second time you brought that up today. And I was watching the Auburn game, had an eye on it. Maybe I should be looking closer, because I really kind of gravitate to those guys in the floor seats. I got a friend that's got one on the floor, so I always notice him. And I noticed everybody around him was kind of sitting down as well, but everybody behind him was standing. Were they not? I don't know. I didn't notice that the fan was a little subdued there at Neville Arena on Saturday. Usually I usually pick that kind of stuff up.
Yeah, he usually tends towards they are too quiet. They are too subdued. So there is that, and I agree with you there. Probably the one thing. And I didn't watch either the Auburn game or the Alabama game. I was busy. I had to do basketball. I got to do basketball and baseball back to back on Saturday, and we traveled yesterday, so I didn't get to watch it. But the one thing in sports that I wish I could have seen, the Mexico Open.
Oh, yeah.
We talked.
Had a playoff.
Mexico
Had a playoff yesterday.
playoff in the Mexico Open. You kidding me? Brian Campbell. He is a PGA Tour professional. He has been a professional golfer for a decade, and I have never heard of him before in my life.
I got to tell you, Barry, there were some guys on the leaderboard I wasn't very familiar with either.
Well, that makes me feel
when they went to the 2-hole playoff, one thing missing about a playoff in the Mexican Open, don't you think the guys in the playoff at least should have to shoot a shot of tequila, then tee it up? And if you go to the next hole, you got to shoot another one. I mean, to me, that would make the playoff a lot more interesting if you got a little tequila involved in the Mexico Open playoff.
This is what I've heard. Me wearing my Port St. Joe high school baseball hat. They do that on the Mexico Beach Open. I don't know about the Mexico Open. At the Mexico Beach next door, they do that right off Highway 98.
On the Mexican mini tour, maybe they do that. Maybe that's the tour I'm thinking about.
Brian Campbell found himself in a playoff.
Yes.
Holy smokes, I might win this one. Second playoff hole, his tee shot got in the trees. He's thinking, oh, snap. But it hit a tree.
Okay. All right.
It hit a tree.
His partner didn't say, hey, Judge, you'll owe me.
The tee shot, second playoff hole, bounced out of the trees, back into play. Really nice little second shot. He ends up with a birdie when he hits his tee shot into the trees on the second playoff hole. Boom. Birdie on the second playoff hole. Brian Campbell is the Mexico Open champion by one stroke on the second playoff hole. His first win since turning pro a decade ago.
Been on the tour 10 years, never won an event. Barry, when that happens, they say, hey, he got some good wood on that one. The tree helped him out. Someone told me long ago, you never cuss a moving ball. You got to wait till that ball stops before you start cussing at it. So if you hit a ball and it's slicing and it's hooking, shut, because you never know. Hits the tree, hits a cart path, hits a rake, hits a sprinkler head.
The ball cleaner.
Yeah. You'd never cuss a moving ball. I mean, I've seen people on a putting green attempt to putt thinking they didn't give it enough, and they're already cussing, and the ball ends up going in the hole. And I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? So the guy got a break. Maybe something in that tree threw that ball out. Arnold Palmer, Arnie's Army, they throw the ball back on the fairway. If Arnie hit one in the rough, the guys throw it back in there. Or they hit it and act like they're giving it a little with their elbow or something. But you never know. You might catch some good breaks.
Judge Smales got caught on camera giving it the old Garo Yepremian. Don't count that, Spalding. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So but I do think a little tequila involvement would make that tournament really extra special. Someone asked this on the chat line. I saw this account. I read about it yesterday. I didn't see it. I read about it. You had mentioned, Barry, that for that you were at Hartsfield Airport. You didn't happen to fly on Spirit Airlines,
no,
did you, out of Atlanta?
We actually flew out of Southwest, which I didn't even realize Southwest flew out of Atlanta. It's the first time I have ever flown Southwest out of Atlanta, so I was unfamiliar. Of course, the whole team's with me. We're all trundling our stuff all the way across the terminal, which is about the size of the dang Superdome or something. And so we go to the Southwest terminal, which is right next to the Spirit terminal. Didn't see anything then. It was it was midday. So I wonder, knockdown drag out at Spirit Airline, or one drunk lady getting mad because they wouldn't let her in the crown room or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't think Spirit has a club lounge for their passengers, number one. But I
think you can get a cookie or something out of the vending machine.
I don't know what the origin of this fight was about. I have some guesses, but I have never in my life flown Spirit, and I don't plan on it.
I don't think
there's a couple of low-cost carriers. That's one of them. Carriers that are on the fringe of bankruptcy, I'm not getting on them either, because I'm thinking they might be cutting corners in some places I don't want them to. not to assume that that's what's happening.
No.
Thought.
They got the adjustable crescent wrench, and they think, that's good enough.
But
nobody will
a
know.
fight breaks out in the boarding area, in the gate area, and I'm thinking, I've heard it all now. That a fight breaks out. Obviously, there were no weapons involved because you can't get a weapon that far into the airport, thank God.
Yeah.
But I remember walking by the Spirit ticket counter early one morning, forgot where I was, and say this. The type of passenger that I saw waiting to check in and the type of luggage and carry-on that they were attempting to get on that plane. And I'm talking about a line of people. I mean, I'm thinking, wow, look at all these people trying to get on this airplane or whatever, how many flights they had. It's a different traveling experience. Let's just put it that way.
Ahoy polloi. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chuck Schick, for that passenger demographic report there. Weren't you at an airport one time where, you were in the lobby and you were telling us that they had people with chickens there or something like that? I don't know. Maybe
that was in Mexico.
Yeah.
I actually missed my flight from Cancun back to Atlanta on Delta.
That's what it was.
So they put us on Mexicana to fly to Mexico City and then fly back to Atlanta. Well, of course, flights from Cancun to Mexico City are in the domestic terminal. The flight to Atlanta was in the international, a little bit more up to date, I guess you'd say. So we trekked over to the domestic terminal, which ended up being one large, big room with about 10 gates and Mexicana personnel with bullhorns, not PAs, but bullhorns, announcing the next flight. I mean, I look around, there's like a couple of chickens running through. You can see the feathers.
Are you sure the bullhorns, are you sure they weren't there for like hostage negotiation or something? That's the only time I ever see people with bullhorns.
I was looking for a matador. I mean, I'm looking for like a bullfight to pop, to start going. We walk.
Only time I've ever seen bullhorns being used are hostage negotiation in, at the Takashima building in Die Hard, and when Huey Lewis was telling Michael J. Fox that he's too darn loud. Those are the only ones I remember.
Why is it called a bullhorn?
I don't know.
So anyway, this Mexican guy talking in Spanish, didn't know a word he was saying, with the bullhorn. Finally, I'm just kind of following people and whatever. And, so they've got like 6 Mexicana planes out on the tarmac, 727s. I'll never forget it. And they're kind of pointing us to the one to go to. We're walking to get on our plane, and the plane next to us, there's like this bull rush of Mexican military personnel rushing the plane next to us. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what are we doing here?
This is hijack? Yeah. Oh,
what in the world is going on? So, we get on the plane, and my thought is, Cancun to Mexico City, 30 minutes, no big deal. It's like 3 hours away. And
it's going 170 miles an hour, John.
And this plane is packed like sardines. There's so many people in it. We're sitting midway through the plane, middle seat. They attempt to throw some meal out there in front of us on our tray table. I mean, I'm kind of looking at it going,
I may sit this one out.
I mean, I'm moving stuff around. I mean, I'm looking for like a worm or something in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to eat this. I mean, we get to Mexico City. I thought I was in Emerald City. I thought, oh, thank God, I'm here. Finally get on an American airline, Delta, heading back to Atlanta. I think, whew, never going to do that again.
Come on. It's an experience. It's an experience.
Never forget. I mean, it's funny because I can still remember it like it was yesterday. I went, is Mexicana even an airline anymore? I know Aero Mexico is still in business, but I don't know if Mexicana is still an airline. But
I think they make orange juice now or something like that. Wow.
it was rough. But Spirit, Barry, I'll walk. I'm not getting on Spirit. I mean, it's like a bus with wings on it.
Well, evidently they got people fighting to get on Spirit. I'd love to know what the I'm telling you, I've told a story before. You ever feel really confident and upbeat about the status of civilization? You get stuck at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, the humanity will disappoint you. I will tell you that much. You will see people at their worst at the Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport.
Tempers are
thin.
There's not a lot of room. Tempers are thin. People don't like.
It's a shame.
To wait, the delays, the hassles. Now, Theo, is that Chris the Bammer says Spirit flyers are like Walmart shoppers. I don't go into Walmarts. I get it delivered. I don't really know what he's talking about there, but I kind of think I know. There again, based on what I saw in the video footage of the fight, that ended me right there. Not going to fly on Spirit. Not happening.
No.
Now, I have flown on
yeah,
Southwest before. I've done that, but it's been a long time since I've done that.
Yeah, we flew Southwest yesterday. And Theotis points out Southwest is going to assign seats soon. I'm glad they do. Just tell me where to sit. I don't want to enter into negotiations with people on where to sit.
Do they still have the seat that faces backwards on Southwest?
No, they don't have that anymore. Thank gosh, because you're sitting there looking at that person for an hour. Yeah,
I always wondered why they did that. Why do they have the seat facing the other way? I wonder what that was about.
Makes no sense. None whatsoever. Stand by.
So, I do have one question for you. Is the baseball and the basketball team with you at the same place?
No. Baseball team is we had baseball over the weekend, won 3 games against Northwestern State. Basketball on Saturday, basketball team flying out to Texas State. Baseball team goes tomorrow to Mississippi State.
So you did the baseball game in Troy and then went with the basketball team?
Yes.
I just heard you mention. Okay. I just heard you mention something about baseball and basketball.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we did. Duty. We did the baseball game on. This Saturday was busy. We had the baseball game at noon, and then I had to cut out before it ended. And Jerry did the rest of them, and I went and did the basketball game. So it was a busy day. Stand by. More to come in just a moment. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, joining us today is Mary Ann from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, 8163 Vaughn Road in Pepper Tree. And it looks like Mary Ann's in the repair shop there at Marguerite's, which is very important because Mary Ann, from time to time, a bracelet or a necklace or something, might break or something might happen. And you have a full service repair shop there at Marguerite's.
We do, definitely. Yeah. Don't worry. I'm not going to be the one to repair your jewelry, but I am in the shop today. So I've got all the tools around, and we really do. When they say we make it, we really make it. We do at Marguerite's. We have 3 in-house jewelers, which is amazing. Custom engraving machine, laser engraving, hand tools, you name it, 3D printer. And I hear that your wife may be in need of us pretty soon.
Yep. We were out of town, and she was taking off a sweater, and her necklace got caught, and it broke the chain. I said, honey, no sweat. When we get back home, I'm taking it straight to Marguerite's. They'll have it repaired in no time.
Definitely, yes. Sweaters, long sleeve shirts, or gosh, like a toddler, whoever. A chain sometimes gets pulled, and we can do it in-house. I've had so many people come in to Marguerite's and just say, I need a new chain. I broke mine. I'm just like, well, you can get a new chain, but we can actually repair it here. We've got torches and laser welders and so many different things to fix those chains. And so, just bring it. We can fix it up in-house, which is great. It's not going anywhere. And we can also size those rings up. Or my mom broke a bracelet. I never took it off, and she had to have a little medical procedure, and it's like hanging on by a thread. So I carried it with me today to get it fixed. So you snag something, don't worry. We can get it knocked out and fixed at Marguerite's.
Open 7 days a week for your convenience there in Pepper Tree on Vaughn Road, 8163 Vaughn Road. Mary Ann, I'm telling you, I'm bringing that necklace as soon as I get back in town. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Great to have you along with us here. It's Longshore and McKnight. It's our Monday show. The topic wheel coming up in just a moment if you're just joining us or you want reiteration. Auburn wins over Georgia in men's basketball 82-70. Tigers have Ole Miss at home on Wednesday at 6 on ESPN2. Alabama wins by 13 at Kentucky, who's not having a bad year, but they're having a terrible year by Kentucky standards under first-year coach Mark Pope. Alabama will be at home tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Mississippi State. John is not totally confident that it'll be a sellout at Coleman Coliseum. Only 2 more home games remain for this top 5 Alabama team. Mississippi State, and then a week from Wednesday against Florida, road games at Tennessee and at Auburn. Let's go. Come on now. Let's support the team. I know it's basketball, but come on, it's really good. I got to tell you this. I'm not hearing John, but Yep, you're right. John said they won by 13 in Tuscaloosa. Not hearing John for some reason. I hope it's on his. Yeah,
Barry, I understand our super fan, Josh Harris, who joins us on Mondays, is north of the border today. He is
really
in Canada.
Oh, I thought you were saying Greene County. Okay. All right.
That's west. That's west.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he's west of the
county.
Border.
Is west
Yeah.
of Tuscaloosa.
Okay. Yeah.
So our man Josh Harris joins us on Monday. He is in Canada. Josh, I'm kind of wondering.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
What's up, Pam?
Man, it sounds like you are like at the North Pole or something. It's wherever you are. It's windy as heck, Josh.
I'm sorry. I'm in the car. If it's too loud, I'll go on mute when y'all are chatting. I am.
No. This is great.
I'm up in Canada for work in Ontario. They sent me this hat to wear while I go curling, which is going to be incredible. I've never been curling. I like to play shuffleboard, so this is like I'm on the way to do kind of, I wouldn't call it bucket list, but it's up there. I've always wanted to curl.
So now, are you up there visiting Governor Trudeau? I mean, what's the story? What are you up there really for?
I'm here for work. I sell technology to senior living companies and for vendor and visitor management. And we've got a big need in Canada right now from a vendor management perspective.
I got you. So
up here they had a curling event. So I was the only one that I wasn't happy about it, but I was okay with Canada winning.
I hear you. So now, Barry, I'd be really impressed if Josh would open up that sunroof so we could see exactly how cold it is up there in Canada.
Oh, that's not. That's not.
So, Josh, what about the Crimson Tide? They get a win against Kentucky on Saturday night. I got to tell you, I was pretty impressed with that win by the Tide Saturday.
We may have hit a dead spot with him.
Yeah, the Tide. Tide looked great. They looked great Saturday. That was something big. I mean, we really had to play, and we had to play defense. We started off, I was like, what are we doing? We're going down the same road again. We stepped the defense, which was incredible to see Sears not only play well on offense, but to lock down on defense. And then to have the team bounce back after just an awful Missouri game, which looked just like the Auburn game. It was good. It was great against Kentucky. Missouri had me worried, though.
So Barry has brought up several times already today, and I see where he's heading. with this because I'm feeling the same way. Mississippi State's coming in Tuesday. You got to think kind of a little letdown, possibly the fans maybe not as into it as they were Saturday against Kentucky. This is when I think coaches really have got to coach because you got a team that's good that can beat you. There's no doubt State's playing well. Nate Oates has got to make sure this team stays focused. There's no more room for error.
Agreed. We got to come out with the same intensity that we did against. Right. I mean, if we can play just a little bit of defense, we're going to be in good shape. So I agree. If Nate can get them coming out fast, playing lockdown defense, and just keep that same intensity up that we had against Kentucky, I think we finally realized we have to play defense. We can't just shoot it. We can't just shoot the ball.
That is important. I had somebody that texted me and wanted to see if Josh could repeat the words, "That's a real nice surprise, Clark, just a real nice surprise." That was a different scene, though, in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Different entirely. So
that's I agree.
Some of that something else being full too. So yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm loving that hat. That hat is unbelievable.
Yeah. We're having a hard
Josh,
time concentrating because of the magnificence of that hat, Josh.
It's big time.
We normally don't talk about this, Josh, but just because it was two in-state teams, the Lady Tide and the Lady Aubs got together yesterday in Tuscaloosa, and Bama, kind of like their men's team, got down big early, but was able to scratch and claw their way back. I didn't know Christy Curry's team was as good as they are record-wise. Barry, once again, threw the win-loss record out at me. I went, really? Really? Are they that good?
22-5 or something.
And I think they're in the top 20, ranked in the top 20.
Oh, no doubt.
18th or something. Yeah.
I never thought I'd see the day. I love it. Women's hoops. We were so bad for so long. And seeing us be good at that, I mean, it just says. I actually had a conversation with another guy from Montgomery named Sam Adams, and we were playing with ChatGPT to see what team overall had best athletics. And we were asking just overall, Auburn won golf, they're big swimmers, blah, blah, blah. One of the major things that we asked them, it said the University of Alabama, and then we asked why. And it went down and said, because women's college basketball was what put it over the edge.
It's a women's college basketball school in Tuscaloosa. I'm glad to see that artificial intelligence realizes that.
Right. I think it might be broken, but
Greg Byrne needs to give Christy Curry a raise, it sounds like to me.
I agree.
Yeah.
Pay
All right, Josh.
Yeah,
we're going to let you go because we don't want you to have do you have to get an international driver's license when you're in another country? How does it work when you rent a car in Canada?
No, they would be probably pretty upset. Texting and driving is a $750 ticket in Canada. So I probably should start paying attention to the road. But I had to come say, hey, show you the hat.
Hey, appreciate you very much. The hat is the star. We're going to have a hard time beating that one out. Appreciate it very much. Josh Harris, Yellowhammer News. He's in the great white north. Appreciate you being with us.
Yeah. Barry, what was that song? Bob and Doug McKenzie, Take Off at Getty Lee.
Yeah.
Take Off.
Take off, hosers. Yeah. I was actually looking on my phone for a picture so I could show it to everybody. That's what reminded me of. But Doug and Bob McKenzie always wore the, I don't know, my Canadian friends, they call it something else, but it's a toboggan hat. It's a ski hat with the thing on the top. I can't remember. They're watching. Text me what Canadians call that. I don't remember. But everybody wears one.
If my memory serves me correct,
yeah.
We've had a lot of international involvement in our program over the years.
Yes.
I believe this is our first call from Canada.
We have viewers and listeners in Canada. My great friend Gary Gallant is one of them, Cindy Gallant. We have people that have emailed us from Canada.
Yeah.
Live. on the road in Ontario, that's got to be number one. That's got to be number one. Yeah,
we've
And-
Australia. We've certainly, I believe, in the Far East. At least military
Malaysia,
personnel,
something like
certainly
that.
in Europe.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Caribbean. But I don't think we ever had anybody from Canada. So that was kind of a nice surprise today.
Well, just a real nice surprise, Clark. Just a real nice surprise. But they, the point about curling. I hope Kirk likes us talking about curling. Even that's the only time I've ever seen, heard, or thought about curling is in the Olympics. And I like watching it because, those guys are so precise. And from what I understand, it is a Canadian provincial and national law that you cannot participate in curling without drinking beer.
Yeah.
Even in the Olympics, you got the Canadian curlers, they're down there on one knee, they're talking strategy about knocking somebody's stones out or something like that. And then they push it and you got those sweepers and they're sweeping in front of it and maybe a little bit to the left to get it to go left, maybe a little bit to the right to get it to go right and everything. And then, it comes and it's a great shot. It's a great shot. Even if it's not, the guy over there, he's getting high fives and he's going over there and he's cracking open that Bud Light over there by the by the table with the other guys. You got to drink beer while you're curling. It is fun to watch, even though it ain't a whole lot going on. My favorite are the sweepers. The guys with the little dustpan brooms, down in the front and everything. You get if you are a sweeper, if you bring your own what do you call it? Your own Swiffer to the Olympics and you're good at sweeping, you can get a by God gold medal, just like LeBron James, just like Usain Bolt. It's the same gold medal.
Yes.
Hard to believe.
Sports that I don't know how you could do it without drinking beer. Curling would be one of them. Shuffleboard is another. Whether you're playing the kind with the stick or you're in like a bar and they got the little pucks, the little silver pucks, and it's got that little sandy stuff on the table and you bounce it off the railing. Right. That is definitely a beer sport. There again, I know people that wouldn't step on the first tee of a golf course without a cooler of beer in their cart. That's okay.
Yeah.
I drink beer every now and then while I'm playing golf. Not always, but every now and then I do. Just it kind of depends on what kind of match that I'm playing. But what sports are perfect for drinking beer? Or would you even participate in it if you couldn't drink beer? Now, obviously, it's kind of tough to drink beer while you're playing basketball.
Right.
I know people.
John has buddies. John has friends that have perfected the art of drinking beer playing softball.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, not so much out on the field, but when you come into the dugout, you're drinking beer in the dugout.
Because out on the field, if you're playing right field or something, and you got your can down beside you, and somebody hits a fly ball, you can knock it over. Yeah. And then you ain't catching the fly ball and stuff. Yeah.
The city of Montgomery, I don't think they have these anymore. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure they don't. But I guess they were part of the police force. But they were park rangers. Yep. Like Yosemite National Park. They were park rangers. And they would go to like all the community centers around town. They'd go to Oak Park. They'd go to, Lagoon Park, all those type places. They were kind of the security and the police of those areas. And they kind of dressed in a brown and green type uniform and wore those kind of park ranger hats. And so we're out there playing softball at Lagoon Park. Played on a team right when I got out of school in the late 80s. We were really good. Played like C League, D League. We weren't out there like some of these guys that were really into it.
Oh,
but anyway, we had a pretty good team. And none of our, only thing that matched were our jerseys. Our pants and our hats didn't match. We played teams that were decked out. We're beating everybody, beating the crap out of them. But we would have beer in the dugout. And we played a lot of late games. It was always like Tuesday at 9:00 at night. Or something. I don't know why we got the late game. We always seem to get the late game. Oh, yeah. And the park rangers would kind of be rolling through Lagoon Park, and they'd kind of take a look in the dugout, to see what we had and whatnot. And, every now and then they go, fellas, the beer, got to go. Oh, sorry. Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll get rid of it. Never did anything about it. But
I always thought, if I ever retired, I would like to be one of those people in the little shack at the beginning of the state parks that just checks people's licenses and checks them in and everything. Hey, I see you're from Ontario. We had a guy on our radio, on our YouTube show from Ontario, just making change and stuff and telling them to stay off the grass and all that. That's great. Hey, ain't got any beer in there, do you?
Those type guys, Barry, Elon Musk, they got on the chopping block.
Look, I'm all about the Department of Governmental Efficiency and everything. I'm all about that. But there's some people that you got to just keep on. Well, like when my wife Dee and I, we go camping a lot whenever we have time together, which is never enough during the summer. And there's a couple of really great places. I'm not going to tell you where they are because I don't want you guys going there. But you got the guy that'll always go 5 miles through all the campsites to make sure that, I don't know, that you're not, that you're that your campsite is up to snuff, or that you're not, burning trash or something like that. I don't want to be that guy. I just want to be the guy in the shack out there because you get to wear the hat. You get to wear the big Dudley Do-Right hat. That's what I want.
So, Barry, I did hear that one of the guys that Musk got rid of was some guy at some national park. And really his only job description, he had the only set of keys to the restroom areas. And he was there in case someone got locked into the restroom.
Been there 40 years. See, I'm with that. I can imagine that they can uncover millions and billions of dollars worth of government inefficiency. I get that. I just don't want them to mess with the park rangers. I don't know who's in charge of the toll booths, like at the Florida Turnpike. You've been on those, right?
Oh, yeah.
Those people, I wouldn't want to be one of those. But I don't know if that's a state job or a federal job or something like that.
State job.
Yeah,
but Barry, toll booth guys, that's something I've never been able to figure out. I think I've told you this before. I grew up spending the summers down in Navarre Beach, and there was a toll bridge from Highway 98 over the intercoastal to Navarre Beach.
Yeah.
And there was a guy that would sit there. You only had to pay going. You didn't have to pay coming back, which I never figured out. But you paid the guy a quarter. And every car that would come by, he'd come out there and stick his hand out. You drop a quarter in it, and he'd put it in and I'm thinking, how many quarters do they have to take in a day to pay this guy's salary and benefits?
Right. That's exactly
and then pay for the bridge.
Yeah.
And I always, I'm like 16 wondering that type stuff. And then at 10 o'clock at night, they would stick a basket out there and you would just drop your quarter honor system, if you will. You want to know how many beer tops I put in that thing instead of a quarter?
Yeah. That's,
it would give the impression that I was putting something in there and it would cling around like a quarter, but it was actually a Bud Light top. I wonder how many Bud Light tops that guy had to fish out of there every day.
Well, the one thing I'm wondering is how many jobs there are like that in the federal government now, where all the guy is he is the restroom key guy. And he's been doing it for 40 years, put 2 kids through college, has a nice retirement fund and everything, just for saying, hey, you locked in? Hang on. And that's his, probably a lot of those.
Yeah.
Now, as far real quick before we go to break, I need your judgment on this. About what sports can you drink beer and still participate? Softball, golf, curling. JD says, point of order.
Okay.
2-time caller of the year, JD says, the issue with the question is, where do you define it as a sport? He says, i.e., darts is my go-to. Beer used to be required. Now it's just the Budweiser Zeros. Yeah, darts, perfect beer sport.
It is. And darts, I've seen dart competitions on ESPN before, so I guess that's technically a sport. Yes, no doubt. You got to drink beer, throwing darts. Bowling. Would anybody bowl if you couldn't get a pitcher of beer and bring it back to the table? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Cornhole. Gotta have beer.
Cornhole. Ty says cornhole. They're always drinking a long neck and they got a fat dip in. Yeah.
Okay, here's some. So Barry,
are we talking about cornhole or are we talking about tailgating at the law school lawn before a football game?
I know we got to go to a break. I'm going to write this down because
I've
just come up with some other ones. Because
okay,
I'm going to write this down because I want to talk about that. But also, when we return, there's a big day on the calendar. I believe tomorrow.
Right.
We'll talk about that. Not because we're having Brian Matthews and Travis Ryer on. Certainly, that's big.
A good enough reason.
But there's something happening tomorrow I want to talk about. Got to talk about what I just wrote down. And the Phantom's Daily Dog when we return.
Oh, we got that coming up as well. We haven't heard a whole lot yet. I have no idea what the Phantom's Daily Dog is going to be or what the tone of the presentation is going to be. I haven't heard a whole lot of people saying, thanks, Phantom, or good job, Phantom, or anything. So who knows? Who knows? It's coming up. John is in the main studio, his main studio. I'm in San Marcos, Texas. It's in association with Yellowhammer News, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Okay, we got about 17 minutes past the hour. Monday here, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Without further ado, Friday, Barry, Marquette at Villanova.
That's right.
The home team, Villanova, was a 1.5-point underdog. And we like to say we like teams we think can win the game outright as a dog. 81-66, I think, is enough to win the game outright. Did not even need the 1.5. As Villanova gets a win.
Would you term it as a groundswell of gratitude that the Phantom has gotten since then? A spontaneous ovation for the Phantom coming through with the dog of the day? Because I haven't heard it yet, John. Maybe it's yet.
Maybe it's coming. So we went with Villanova, and they were the winner. All right, so tonight, Barry, as we look on the card, we have a game that is pitting two top 10 teams, 8 o'clock on ESPN. The Houston Cougars are traveling to the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. Houston is a 1.5-point favorite on the road at Texas Tech tonight. And if you look closely, Houston is on a 6-game winning streak, beating number 8 Iowa State Saturday in Houston. On the other hand, you've got Texas Tech, the host team tonight, number 9 rated team. They're also coming off a win. They hosted West Virginia. They're not traveling. Houston is. Cougars off a big win against the top 10 team at home. Got to travel out to Lubbock. We like Texas Tech at home catching 1.5 to be able to, we think they can beat them outright, but we're going to take the 1.5 just in case, because Houston might be sleepwalking after a 6-game winning streak and a big win against the number 8 Iowa State on Saturday.
Feeling kind of sassy about themselves, feeling kind of good. It is ESPN tonight.
That's
Houston
right.
In Lubbock, which I'm thinking, and I'm in Texas right now, I'm kind of between them. From Houston to Lubbock is a by gosh plane flight. I mean, Houston to Lubbock is like Nashville to Gainesville or something like that. Heck,
Barry, isn't anywhere to Lubbock a plane ride?
It is. Lubbock is in the middle of absolute nowhere. So
what did Tuberville say about Lubbock? Couldn't wait to get out of there.
Yeah, well, he said it was like Iran or something like that.
Yeah.
But then again, Mac Davis famously, happiness is Lubbock, Texas in the rearview mirror. So that's on the that's corroborated now. That's on the record.
Yes,
the Phantom
it is on the record.
Likes Texas Tech at home plus the 1.5 against the Houston Cougars in a battle of 2 top 10 teams.
That's right.
We'll see. Tomorrow we'll have another. Phantom does this every day. Every day.
Phantom's Daily Dog. Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to get a little. We're going to get a little intro produced of a little dog barking, running across the screen. Our technical department working on that for the Phantom's Daily Dog every day. Somebody had the gallberry. I think it was on our chat line. Maybe it was on Instagram or X or something. Hey man, have you always got to pick a dog? And I went, hence the name.
That's why the title is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pick a favorite, go pick it yourself. I mean, we're picking dogs here, man.
Yeah.
All right, so
that's like the guy who goes into the Mexican restaurant. Hey, have you got chicken fingers?
Most Mexican
we
places
serve
do
Mexican
now,
food.
think,
yes,
they
you
toss them
right.
in enchilada sauce.
Yeah. A couple of things from our research department. That the name, the ski cap that Canadians wear, they call it a toque. Which a toque means something else where I come from.
Yeah.
But it's called a toque. And Houston to Lubbock is 516 miles. It ain't you're from Texas? Really? You're from Orange, Texas?
Now, Barry,
do you know anybody in El Paso? Orange, Texas to El Paso is about 700 miles. Yeah.
So Montgomery to Dallas is about, I want to say, 550, 600. Houston to Lubbock is almost the same distance.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a big place. That's amazing.
When I was growing up in Florida, that was one of the things that we always took pride in. It is from Pensacola to Miami is as far as Pensacola is farther than Pensacola to Chicago. I mean, it's those are two big states, two long states. All right, so there you go.
So that's interesting. Yeah, that is. Yeah, Texas Tech tonight plus 1.5. Phantom's Daily Dog.
Okay, there you go. There we go. All right.
So Barry, we're talking about
February 25th is
sports.
tomorrow.
Oh yeah, well let's talk about that first.
Okay.
I believe there's a big meeting out in Dallas tomorrow. February 25th.
Yes.
Conference commissioners, representatives from the college football playoff, I'm sure ESPN, maybe even the NCAA, who knows. So I'm wondering, how long is it going to take for us to hear about in 2025 for the college football playoff? They're going to reseed similar to basketball. They're not just going to have, conference champions like they did this year with Arizona State and Boise, that you're going to have a committee seed them from 1 to 12. I think we're going to see that.
I do too.
Will we also see I don't know if we'll have a final decision, but will there be a strong movement to explore 14 or 16 teams in 2026 coming this week?
Yeah, there'll be a strong movement. I don't know if it'll actually happen. I've lost all perspective in stuff like this because, especially in sports, especially when I was growing up back in what I consider the golden age of sports and American civilization, stuff took a long time, John. I mean, they did. You think, what was it, in 5 years, we went from, in 5 years, you had girls could get married to each other and boys could get married to each other, which is, I got no problem with it. But you would think that, if you're going to do that, that would take, 20, 30, 40 years to build up to something like that. All of a sudden, and now we're having executive orders from the president for stuff like, boom, man, that just totally changes everything. It's the same thing in college athletics. And again, I'm not talking politically. I mean, whatever is fine, but, it's just things go quick now, especially in college athletics, to me. Stuff that I thought, the old fogies would say, well, let's think about it for a while. We've got several subcommittees and several task forces that we want to have go through it. And maybe it get done in 10 years. Well, now it seems like stuff is happening all the time. So I don't know about timing. I do know that they're going to discuss this. It would not surprise me if it happens before, say, the start of 2026, the 2026 football season. In the past, it used to take 5 years for something like that. It may take 18 months at the most.
The first thing that enters my mind, and I've not really thought about that, but maybe since money is involved and a large amount of money, does it seem to think things are happening faster because there's so much money at stake that we got to make a decision, we got to make a move, we got to make a change, whether it's in government or it's in college athletics. That would be my first guess. Too much money involved. I mean, ESPN's paying over $1 billion a year. They're thinking, hey, we got to speed this thing up. We don't have time to be dilly-dallying. Let's go. So I do think we'll have a, reformat of the seedings that are going to come out of Dallas. For the life of me, Barry, and most people that I hear that talk about this, they mentioned the 14 of the 16. Why are we even talking about that? I mean, do you really think if we come out with a 14-team playoff that we're not going to be at 16 real soon after that? Why are we waiting? I don't even know why we're discussing 14. Let's just go to 16. Doesn't it work better? I mean, you got 8 over here and 8 over here, and nobody gets a bye, and I don't know why we're even talking about 14.
It's not even just because of the logic of it all. It's because that's what John wants. And John wants it, and he's like, I've already told you this is what needs to be. Why are you guys still talking about it? I've already told you 15 years ago, 16-team playoff. Why are you guys even thinking of it? We're talking about the logic of it and how a 14 would work.
Yeah. And I know I caught a lot of, look, over the last 30 years, I've caught a lot of crud about expanding, go to a playoff, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just not talking the crud that Barry gave me. I mean, it's okay, but I'm telling everybody, they thought I was crazy. I remember Tony Barnhart just thought, no, we're not having a playoff. Not going to happen. Okay.
Not only Tony Barnhart told John that, which didn't deter John for a nanosecond, but also the immortal day when John and I sat across a table from college football playoff executive director Bill Hancock. And, of course, John was pounding that subject to him, And he said over here, within the college football playoff committee and its constituents and, the playoff committee members, there's not even any conversation about that going on. Not only did John not believe him, he actively went the other way with it. John was like, he knows that there is. He's seen it. He's felt it. He's lived it. And he's telling us that there's not. John said right after it was over, and we thanked him, very gracious man, thanked him for his time and everything, went to a commercial break and, said goodbye to him, shook his hand during the commercial break. He got it just with that earshot. And John says, he ain't telling the truth. That ain't right. John says, I said, well, no, I remember I said, John, doesn't look like it's like that's happening. The college football playoff executive committee director just told us that there's no momentum towards that. John was as happy as he could be. John was like raising the roof over there. I said, what are you up to? And he said, it's happening. There's no doubt. I never felt more strongly in my life that it's happening until he told me that it ain't happening.
Only thing missing,
was
the sound effect when he was telling me that. That's the only thing, because that nose was going just like that when he was telling me. So, yeah, I felt great about it. So, we're going to a playoff. It is happening. But I don't get the 14. I do not get the 14. Just go to 16. We're going there anyway. And, Barry, now they're talking about expanding the basketball tournament.
Which I don't get. I don't get
that. I really don't get that. What is it, the 72 teams?
Yeah, well, some of them are 72. Some of them are even more than that. But it's like Philip Marshall said in his latest piece, and I read it.
I missed it.
Where he's talking about, Philip never thought I would get to 4. He never thought I would get to 8. Philip was also one I never thought we'd get a man to the moon or that skirts would be above the knee and stuff like that. But he said, at what point, and this is what I've said, he said, I actually thought the 12-team playoff worked pretty well in the sense that you had more teams that were in the national championship conversation late in the year, which in the past, and by the time we got to mid-October, early November, there was only about 3 or 4 teams that really had a legitimate shot. Now you're looking at 12, and a lot of more fan bases are still engaged. And he said, but at what point when we get to 16, do people just not care anymore about the end of the regular season? You're in, especially if Big Bad Greg Sankey gets his way from the SEC and there's 4 in. You ain't got to worry about winning your league. You ain't got to worry about winning that last game of the regular season or even the next to last game of the regular season. An SEC championship, all you want to be is one of the top 4 teams. That's it. And if you know you're in the top 4, why in the world would you even think about playing your starters in the Iron Bowl? Especially when a bye's not involved. Oh, man, if we win our league, we get a first-round bye. Whew, we sure do need that. And, we'd get to play close to home in the second round. Now it's like, man, if you're
I think that would be refreshing, Barry, because I've been saying it for years. The Iron Bowl's not a big deal. It's about winning it all. You can't zero in on some in-state rivalry. College football is much bigger than that. If you're sitting guys out, sure. Yeah, no big deal. I'm looking for the ultimate prize. Not some little fan-generated in-state rivalry.
College football would cease to be as prevalent as it is if you got teams not trying, if you got teams not playing to win. Vegas is going to jump off of it. The regular fans going to jump off of it to say that the game's at the end of the year. Who cares?
Well,
it's all about the championship. You got people trying to sell tickets to that. You got ESPN trying to make out the $1 billion that they're selling.
Has Vegas jumped off the NBA and Major League Baseball and the NFL when those guys don't play at the end of the season, getting ready for the postseason? They're still playing.
They?
I mean, they're still betting on these games. They're still televising them. The networks are still paying for them because they know what the ultimate grand prize is going to be. Incredible playoff action. So, yeah, if that happens, it's no big deal.
How in the world does Vegas make a play and say, well, It's the Cowboys versus the Giants. Cooper Rush is playing against Tommy DeVito at quarterback,
Well,
when
they have the roster, the injury reports on Wednesdays, who's playing, who's not. There again, I've asked that forever. Who needs to know that? Gamblers. That's who needs to know it. Now they're doing it in college sports as well. I never thought I'd ever see an injury report in college. Hell, Mark Sears was on the injury report, and it was like, oh, is he playing Saturday? I went, yeah, he's playing.
They just have to put something out there. It doesn't even have to be
right. They put him on the injury report. So, now listen, I would rather not see it that way, Barry. But, in reality, I don't think it's right to maybe lose to your in-state rival in football and still go on to win the national championship. I mean,
but he's not against
the ultimate. It is the ultimate goal. I mean, who do you think that really deep down when you sit down and think about it over a 15-year-old scotch and a nice Cuban cigar, and you're sitting there with one of your all buddies and says, and both of you are going, and the Alabama's guys going, we lost to y'all that year, but we ended up winning the national championship. So I'm okay. I'm good with that. Maybe that little blip, I don't know. Maybe every now and then it kind of concerns me. Then the Auburn guy goes, yeah, it irks the hell out of me because we beat y'all, but you still went on to win the national title. And it's like, we didn't beat you. So who does it irritate more, Bama fan or Auburn fan?
Which one does it? I mean, when Alabama loses the Iron Bowl and goes on to win the national championship, which did happen, or Alabama fan when Adam Griffin leaves a field goal short, Auburn runs it the other way, and Alabama's done.
Yeah.
In the space of a second. Yeah, I would imagine that's the case. Wouldn't matter if we had a 16-team playoff. Everybody be like, big deal. Tough break, Alabama. Let's get ready for the 16-team playoff.
There again, Barry, that goes into a possible scenario that we've talked about. What if Auburn and Alabama played 3 times in a year? Could happen. It could happen.
Again, the scenario that I bring up, Auburn in the Iron Bowl, Auburn beats Alabama by 28, 38-10, not even close. So they play again for the for the SEC championship week later in Georgia. Auburn wins that one 28-0. Alabama doesn't have much to play for. They've had some injuries. They need to give some guys some rest, get ready for the playoff. So Auburn wins 2 games, 38-10, and whatever I said, 21-0. They meet again in the college football playoff national championship game. Alabama sneaks a field goal in at the horn to win it 17-16. They sneak out 1 win out of the 3 at the very last second, and they get to hoist the Crystal Trophy.
Well,
what's fair about that?
That would be similar, Barry, to, and I believe I heard this probably over scotch and cigars, a couple of days after that year that Alabama lost to Auburn in the regular season, but went on to win the national title.
Championship.
And a couple of guys taking that cigar, taking a big puff of it and go, those Aubs, they're so chapped. They were so giddy when they beat us, and now we go on to win the Natty. They're just beside themselves. They just don't know what to think. Then Theodore, lifts up that scotch and shakes that ice in it, takes a sip and goes, isn't it great? Those Aubs are so irritated. I think I heard a conversation like that years ago. I might have been a part of it. I don't know. But
the problem is that it would have that scotch would have tasted so much better. Number one, you're right. I think what would irritate the Auburn people the most in that scenario is that the Bama fans, they know the Bama fans are doing that and laughing at them. But the fact remains that in 60 minutes, occupying the same field against each other, that your team scored more points than their team did and won the game. Beat them, not in the polls or not in some playoff scenario, but when the 2 teams met up against each other on the field of play, your team was better. And you can't take that away from them.
So remember,
even if you think they're laughing at you, you beat them and they're laughing at you?
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
So, remember, so what about this? Auburn beats Georgia badly at Jordan-Hare. Plays them 3 weeks later and gets beat.
In the SEC championship game, 2017. Yep.
So that was got to be tough. When we come back, I saw this on Saturday. Coach emails us about it. I want to talk about it. It happened in the Alabama-Kentucky game.
All right.
Also, I got a couple of more sports that you got to drink beer, or you just might as well not participate. And the Victoryland 777 topic wheel is yet to be spun either. So we got a lot to go. Got a lot to get to in the next 20 minutes.
Yes, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Okay, got about 18 minutes to the top of the hour. Thanks for listening. Thanks for viewing. You can check us out at yellowhammernews.com. You can listen and watch there. Also a write-up each and every afternoon, a little brief synopsis about what the show is about. YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Spotify, we're all there. We greatly appreciate it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate it. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe.
That's
you just get notifications about all of our content. We got a lot of stuff that pops up throughout the day on X and Instagram and things of that nature. But we really appreciate everybody spreading the word, checking us out. And thank you. We appreciate it. We see the numbers growing, and we could not do it without you. Barry Bill from Baltimore earlier on the River Region Straw Chat mentioned that the Braves have started out 0-2 in spring training. I mentioned that to Mal as well. Mal checked in earlier today. Is there any? Should we be panicking, or is it way too early?
Way too early.
Oh,
I mean, you got catchers wearing number 63.
Oh,
you know, you got outfielders wearing number 79 and stuff like that. 2 games into spring training. I mean, some of the guys hadn't even reported yet. That happens. I think for some of them, March the 3rd.
I just wanted to, but hey, Bill from Baltimore, thanks for bringing that to my attention. Thank you very much.
There you go.
I doubt I would have known that. Just being all honest and
and even less doubt that he would have cared about it, even if they
were 2-0, Bill. I don't think I would have brought it up. And now that they're starting out 0-2, just want to make sure everybody knows that. Okay.
Yeah. A couple of things to catch up on. They used to have on Tony Barnhart, pardon the interruption, used to have a guy that would come on and would tell them the mistakes they made. The Canadian ski cap is called a toque, not a toque. It's pronounced toque. Yeah, not a toboggan, not a ski cap, whatever. And I may have said this. Alabama won by 13 in Tuscaloosa, not at Kentucky. I know I mentioned early on that they were at Coleman Coliseum because, they had Dickie V there and all that kind of stuff. But, so there's that.
I tell you, Barry, it was, and I like that thing. I don't watch Pardon the Interruption very often, but I do like that little segment where the guy comes on and tells them what they were wrong about or mispronounced or something. Problem is, with our show, we probably have to devote the last 30 minutes to it.
Yeah, no kidding. Be a lot of stuff.
So that would take up too much time. It was great seeing Dickie V in Tuscaloosa. He got a warm reception, took some pictures, signed some autographs. Just so glad to see him back for what he's been through. And there again, where I was at watching the game, I couldn't really hear a lot of, his commentary. But it just was good to see him back. I'd love to know what people thought about Dickie V being there with Carl Ravitch and who was the third guy that was with him? Because I really like him, and I cannot think of his name.
You got me. I did not watch it.
Okay.
This from Robbie. Robbie says Florida has lots of depth in the front court with Alex Condom. Robbie, his name is Alex Condon with an N at the end. His name is not Alex Condom. No. So just
no need to pull him out of the game.
No, there's spelling involved. Was this the game? Was the Alabama Kentucky game that Coach is referring to on our email inbox?
Yes.
Longshore and McKnight at Cumulus.com. Didn't see it.
Yes.
Somebody's got to tell me about it. Coach says,
I'll tell you.
Good morning, men. When an SEC basketball official follows a coach up the sideline trying to pick a fight with the coach, that is an admittance of I suck. The SEC officials need to be checked up because they are on a power trip. That is from Coach.
Well, I'm with you there a little bit. I do think these officials are a little whistle happy. I saw some fouls in that game that no way in the world the NBA would have called that. I'm there again. I'm not calling for the game to be like the NBA, but let them play a little bit more. I mean, some of these ticky-tack fouls are just unbelievable. And I don't know what got the Kentucky coach so hot, but he and the official are having a little space, back and forth, right around the scores table. And he's letting this official know he's not happy about something. And he just quits talking and starts walking back towards his bench, and the official follows him. He's right behind him. And the coach is still chirping. He's still talking, but he's not looking at the official. He is not, directly, speaking to him at the time. Might be talking about him and might be talking of him, but he ain't looking at him, and he's walking away from him. The official follows him, and he turns around, and the official is right there. And the official's got the whistle in his mouth.
Yeah.
And when he turns around, coach doesn't say another word. And I'm thinking, shouldn't you be officiating the game? I mean, what are you wasting your time following the coach back, to his bench for? I thought that was a little uncalled for.
That is a bad look. Now, the other thing, people, you got to bear in mind is the official runs the game. He runs the game. Now, you can have all the replay or whatever, but the final arbiter is the official. And sometimes, like if the official calls a player over, and I've seen this happen where the player won't go over. The official's talking to the player, and the player, is not facing him. The official can tee you up. The official in the game that I saw, the official goes up to the coach and says, "Hey, man, I got a problem with this kid. He needs to talk with me." And the coach, during the timeout said, "Hey, when the official called you over, you gotta go over. You gotta." So there is that thing. Same thing with a coach. The coach can't say something and just walk away like, "Hey, you're on the take" or something like that. The official can do that. He can go over and say, "Look, we're going to talk this out, and we're not going to play until we do. You don't do this, coach your team, all this kind of stuff." Now, they don't do it very often because that is a bad look. It makes it look like you're spoiling for a fight, and maybe he got under your skin just a little bit. I didn't see what happened there, but it's hard. I still wonder why people even want to be an official, because they get much crud. Oh,
particularly in basketball. Basketball's the worst.
Right there.
I mean, I guess umpires get here a lot, balls and strikes, stuff like that. But basketball officials, I mean, you're right there. The fans are right on top of you. You're hearing it. The whistles. And we're watching the Auburn game. So, of course, the Alabama game is late. They're showing the score up in the corner. You got to go to the ESPN app to watch it because they're blowing the whistle in that Auburn game. And I'm thinking, let's go. What are we doing here? Come on. And the last 2 minutes of a game just drive me insane. Just let them play. Gee whiz. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how we'll ever be able to repair that because, you're fouling people to get them to the line to hope they miss and get a rebound. But it just seemed like there'd be an easier way to do that. I will say, Barry, Nate Oates kept his cool most of the game. I didn't see him slamming stuff to the floor and, chewing the refs out. So, all in all. So I guess you're saying that if you're playing basketball and your uniform only has the number on the back of your jersey and you get fouled and you walk back down the court backwards so the official can't see your number, that's not a good move. You shouldn't do that.
He can stop play, make you turn around, and he can crab walk you back to the scorer's table so they can get a good look at it. I mean, he is in control of the game.
Barry, I knew somebody that had the gall to do that, to walk down the floor backwards just so the ref couldn't see his number. I don't know why the kid did it. I really don't.
Awful, awful, awful.
You know what he told me to do? He blew the whistle, went.
Yes.
Me?
No.
He said, yeah, turn around.
Yeah. He goes Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver. You talking to me?
One more quick thing about sports you can play with beer before we get to the topic, Will.
Okay,
I wanted to go by and see it before I left Tuscaloosa yesterday. It's called Pop Stroke. Tiger Woods is involved with it. He's a big investor. It's kind of a souped-up putt-putt. I don't know what.
You told me about that.
They got them in Orlando. They got them in Myrtle Beach. They got them in California. They got them in Arizona. And all these tourist spots. They got one in Tuscaloosa. Went by and took a look at it. Definitely. Matter of fact, Barry, they've got little signage, little signs by the little tee boxes. You put your phone up to it. You tell them what you want. They bring your beer to you. You don't even got to go get the beer. They bring it to you out there as you're playing Pop Stroke. And it is a souped up, really cool. You got to see, but I mean, just the courses, it ain't putt-putt. It's a lot more involved and a lot more detailed than the old putt-putt courses that we were playing. Then they got cornhole and ping pong and all these other type things you can do as well. But certainly it's centered around the golfing aspect, but it's called Pop Stroke. And it's right there by Baumhauer's on 82. And I just had to go by and take a look, and it's pretty cool. Definitely a beer drink.
Is that an opportunity? Have you noticed that when you took a look by that people will wager?
Oh no. Yeah.
That goes
and
on.
I did notice
gambling
the
is
pricing
illegal at
of
Pop
it.
Stroke, sir.
They had senior citizen pricing,
right?
Student pricing. Unfortunately, I didn't fall into either one of those categories, but I'm getting close to one, and I had my chance on the other not too long ago. But that's definitely a beer drinking sport. I know there's others, but that we've talked about it before, and I got my first look at it yesterday. It's pretty cool. I wanted to play, and the little lady said, "You want to go play?" She goes, "No." And I went, and I was kind of bummed. I thought it'd be like a nice little, couples outing. We, go out. Hey, what y'all do? Well, you took me to Pop Stroke.
Tell the people what you ended up doing instead of. Probably went to
Galette's.
Okay. All right. Fair. Okay.
I went, come on, this will take an hour. I mean, come on. She had no part of it. And it was a little chilly, so what? But she didn't want to do it, so we passed.
Oh, that entire description, I thought it was an indoor thing. Okay.
No, it's outside.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's outside.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I got you.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All
yeah,
right,
it's out.
gotcha.
All right, Gern, you got the topic wheel ready to go. We got time? I think so.
I think we're caught
There
up
it
on
is.
commercial breaks.
Right.
Who knows? Yes.
I think we are too. Only 4 categories today, so let's spin the wheel. Look at all those colors coming together.
He always brings
Okay,
up
where
the
do we
colors.
go?
It's incredible.
Surprises. I don't like surprises. I never have.
Wait a minute, honey. You don't want to play Pop Stroke? What? Okay.
That was kind of, I thought you would want to. I really did.
That's a surprise.
Barry, the NFL combines this week. Talked to our man Mike Griffith. Wanted him to be on the show. He's at the combine. We're going to get him next week. Are there going to be any surprises in the combine? Do we ever see any surprises in the combine? Is Jalen Milroe going to be a surprise in the combine?
The only surprises in the combine to me are the guys who won't throw, or the guys who won't run, that will do like part of the combine, because you got to think that they're hiding something. Yeah. Like, I don't know if Jalen Milroe decides not to throw in the combine. Everybody knows how strong his arm is. He doesn't necessarily want everybody to know that he's inaccurate at times. So I'm not going to throw. That is an admission of something. If you're a defensive back and you're one of the top 3 projected picks at DB, I'm not going to run. You know what that tells the scouts? That you're about a 4.65 guy, and they're not going to draft you. Those are the ones Plus, you always have like one guy from Cheney State or one guy from Tulane or something that just blows everybody up. And you're like, holy smokes, that guy bench pressed 225 45 times. Now, we have seen those guys who have those kind of things, guys like Mike Mamula, guys like Tony Mandarich, remember, from Michigan State, that those guys, you know what they proved in the combine? They can lift a lot of weight. Not very good football players, but pretty good power lifters.
Yeah,
they made a lot of money just because of the combine. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll be interested. I know there'll be a lot of coverage on the ESPN NFL Network. I just wonder if we're going to see any surprises.
Probably.
We'll be looking out for that. All right.
Probably.
Let's spin the Victoryland 777 topic wheel yet again and see what it lands on.
See what it lands on.
I should have been a game show host. All right, obviously the Trojans got a lot going on the road. Barry is on the road in San Marcos, Texas, I believe you said. Tell us what the remainder of the week's going to be like.
Yeah, the whole week I'm going to be ball capping and hoteling it all. Troy, well, we'll start chronologically. Troy baseball tomorrow at Mississippi State at 4:00. Troy men's basketball is also tomorrow at Texas State at 7:00. The regular season ends for Troy men's basketball against Southern Miss on Friday, and then the tournament takes place up in or down in Pensacola. Women's basketball also in action. They are closing out the regular season. Women's basketball is at home on Wednesday against Texas State, and then back again. They'll close out the regular year on Friday at home against Arkansas State. Then they're ready for the tournament. So there's a bunch going on in Troy athletics.
When are you scheduled to be back in Troy?
Saturday morning at 2 a.m. and then hit the ground running because we've got baseball that afternoon at 3:30, I think, 3:33.
Wow.
So, I'm gone. We're gone all week.
All right, Gern, let's spin it again. I think we can get the last 2 in before the clock runs out. We're going to spin that thing. We got a green, we got a blue, and it's spinning around, and it's going to stop in the green, which is Dallas. Touched on it earlier today. Some meetings tomorrow out in Dallas that could shape the future of college football. I do think, Barry, we're going to get the reseeding thing. I don't think that's going to be a big argument. People are going to go for that. Maybe some of these the conferences that Boise and Arizona State are in might have a little say-so about it, but I think all in all, we're going to go to a seeding format similar to basketball, and I think that'll make this year's playoff a little better. I think it'll make it better.
Well, we'll see. We'll also see when they'll get this thing going. It won't be for 2025, almost definitely, but it could.
I think the seeding part will.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes because there's several different options. But I do agree. I don't love it. I don't like it very much at all. But I do believe John's right.
The expansion, we're a little off on that.
Maybe.
Okay, Gerd, let's spin the last one. Got to make it official here. You got to spin the wheel to make it official on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. And it is SEC this week. Once again, Barry, we've got some Tuesday and Wednesday games in the SEC. 4. Tuesday seems to be the big night in the SEC this year.
Alabama plays on ESPN2, the late game tomorrow night against Mississippi State in Tuscaloosa. It all begins 6 o'clock tomorrow, Florida at Georgia on the SEC Network, 8 o'clock on the SEC Network, Tennessee at LSU. ESPNU at 8 o'clock, it's South Carolina versus Missouri. South Carolina finally got their first win in SEC play last weekend. On Wednesday, number 24 Ole Miss at number 1 Auburn. That's at 6 on ESPN2. Part of a doubleheader on the Deuce tomorrow. Wednesday, Texas and Arkansas at 8 is the second game of that one.
All right, Barry, tomorrow here on the program, as always, we'll check in with Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com. Travis Ryer on YouTube, talking Tide with Travis. A lot more conversation we'll be having as we always do. Appreciate the River Region Straw chat line. Always a lot of great chats, a lot of good comments and information. And, of course, our Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry email inbox, Coach, with a great submission there. We appreciate that. Longshore and McKnight at gmail.com.
Appreciate Gurn Jr., our executive producer. For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.